All right, so we have already done our historical research. Now's the time for us to research our abstract and evocative images. Now, these don't have to have bases in reality. Like historical research really needed to be grounded in reality, um, needed to be facts, historically accurate, accurate to the time period. Our evocative and abstract research doesn't have any of those rules or constraints. Basically, it's taking the feeling, the mood, the character, the symbolism, and using those things to sort of research images that we can incorporate bits and pieces of into our designs. So let's take our same Romeo and Juliet. So something that I like to do, first and foremost, is to figure out for the characters, what sort of animals they would be, what elements, the fire, water, air, and earth they would be, what time of year they would be, like which season. If they were a season, what would they be? Um, if they were a piece of music, what piece of music would that be? If they were a little bit of an aspect of light, what sort of light would they be? Would they be a summer's day, bright and shiny and happy? Would they be a candle, a lone candle in a dark place? Sort of just a little bit of hope there, but mostly really sort of depressing and scary and dark. Um, would they be a bunch of candles, sort of warm and romantic? Are they a fireplace, warm and comfortable and cozy? Things like that. And then I use those abstract thoughts, like if this character were a blank, they would be a blank. And I use that to research. I also use their overall characteristic. Are they strong? Are they needy? Are they in love? Are they trapped? Are they um free? Are they a fighter? Things like that. And then I also use those to research my evocative and abstract images. So let's take Romeo and Juliet again. We're going to focus on the character of Juliet. And I'm going to say that um, her overall characteristic is, well, I'm going to say three. She's young, she's in love, and she's naive. So I'm just going to type in young, young, in love. I guess that should be two words. Naive, is that how you spell naive? Art. Okay, I just like to put art at the end because it'll give us some really lovely images. So let's see. I really like this picture of the flowers. Remember, yellow is hopeful, um, it's joyous, and I feel for the most part, um, Juliet is those things up until the end when, she kills herself. So I might use that image. I also really like this image, mainly because these two characters are tied together through the use of a color. So I might include that image for both Romeo and Juliet, right? To be like, oh, I should tie them in with, red or something. Um, let's see. Um, this is a really interesting image, sort of the idea that love makes you blind and sort of trapped inside. That's interesting. I'm not sure I'll use that for this show for Romeo and Juliet, but that's a really interesting um, image. Let's see, what else do we like? Um, a lot of these are really good, but just not ones that I would want to use um, for this particular play. Okay, so let's forego this one and I'll just say naive. Naive art. We'll see what we pull up there. Sort of the same stuff. Hmm. All right, so let's look at something else. I think that if um, Juliet was an animal, she would be a deer, right? She's gentle and she's soft and she looks very breakable, right? So I'll say deer images. And I really like this one, this little fawn here. We know it's a fawn because of the spots. And so, and it's, it looks like it's about to run away. It doesn't really know. I really like this image. I feel like this image is a good one for Juliet. Very young, um, not not super knowledgeable of the world, like this little fawn. Um, very in a lot of danger, right, from the things around her. So there's that. So let's do Romeo. So I feel like the three things that really uh, sort of explain Romeo is he's impulsive, he's passionate, and he's a little dumb. And so I'm going to type those things and do the art. Let's see, what's this? This looks really interesting. I actually really like this. Um, I'm not sure if I'll use it for this design though, but that's really interesting. Um, oh, that's funny. Let's see. Let's just take out dumb. We'll take out dumb, and we'll just say impulsive, passionate art. I'm a little worried what my search results are going to bring up for this. I'm not going to lie. Um, so make sure when you're searching that you keep yourself safe. Maybe put on some parental controls. Let's see. I really like this sort of Jason Pollock-esque um, painting, right? It's sort of all over the place. It's very chaotic and impulsive, right? There's not a lot of structure there. There's not a lot of forethought. So I actually like this. I could totally incorporate this into a design with maybe having a pattern, right? Like shapes um, on the doublet or something, sort of crazy like this. All these lines going in different directions. Mix of all these colors would be fun. We do have the yellow in there to sort of balance out that Juliet wanting her in yellow, and tying them in together like that other image. But I like this. It's very chaotic. Um, it's very impulsive. I like this. I would use that. Um, let's see. Let's see. I kind of like this image too. The idea that like the flowers. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the saying, see the world through rose-colored glasses, right? It means that you see everything in the best possible light. It's romantic, it's exciting, it's adventurous, it's beautiful. And I like the idea of like instead of having eyes, having flowers, right? Because he doesn't see the danger of his actions. He just sees this beautiful girl that he's known for like 6 hours and decides that he has to marry and run away with and that they do all this crazy stuff. Um, so I like this. I like this idea of having the flowers for eyes. Not that I would incorporate that into um, the design, actually putting flowers on his eyes. Um, but maybe drawing attention up to the eyes, maybe putting flowers on his hat, um, something that just would sort of symbolize his looking at the world as a very positive place, right? Um, not seeing the danger that he's bringing upon himself and Juliet. So I like that. I would probably use that image. That's nice. Um, you get the idea. You get the idea. So now let's say we're doing this for scenic design. So you might say the world of Romeo and Juliet is very so dangerous, dangerous. What is it like? Dangerous places. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this comes up with anything. So this idea of a whirlpool, this is not real, by the way. But this idea of a whirlpool, you could use that in some way if you really wanted to. I wouldn't, but you could. This is good, though. This is good. Look at this guy. He's sort of like Romeo. He's like, I'm going to do this thing, and it's fun, and I'm not going to care that there's a good chance I'm going to fall in my death. Oops. Didn't mean to actually click on it. Did not mean to actually click on it. There's a good chance I could fall in my death, but that's fine. Yeah, and you could totally incorporate this into the scenic design, having a lot of edges, right, that people might fall off of in the set. Um, Having a bunch of levels, so platforms and stuff that people come right to the edge of, and it's like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Yeah, that's great. I could totally use that as a set designer. Let's see. I'm also just a little concerned on what this search might pull up, but we'll see. Um, let's see. Maybe you want to do more like it's a jail, right? Especially for Juliet. Like her life is sort of a jail. Her parents are telling her she's going to get married to Prince Paris. Um, like everything's very set in stone for her, so you might just look up jails. All right, so now we have pictures of jails. This is a good picture, right? It's very dangerous, very jail-like. Here's a good picture. And remember, with those Tudor style homes, all that beautiful sort of really dark beams on the outside of the houses, where the houses are painted like white or cream, and then you have those beams on the outside. You could totally make those beams resemble jail bars. 100%. That would be awesome. And that's, what we would use this picture for. So, you can see that with the lighting, Romeo and Juliet, so I'm just gonna abstract lighting and see if there's anything that well, this is all very colorful. So maybe I don't think this is bad for a Romeo and Juliet. Again, it's the idea of things being out of focus, right? They're not seeing the world as it really is, so things are sort of out of focus. I like this. This could totally be used for lighting. Obviously not, you wouldn't just put like, Christmas lights on stage, but could be used for color, could be used for how focused you want your lights. Maybe you want really blurry lines. If we're going with the idea of it being a gel, you could say light coming through bars, right? So these are really good abstract lighting things. So you get the idea. Abstract, it's not set in stone. There's no hard and fast rules. You use abstract thoughts in order to sort of push your research in the direction you want it to go. And then you just spend time looking. This is my favorite part of research is the abstract. It's so fun. I love discovering new things, new ways to view characters. Again, you'll want this for every single character if you're doing a costume design. You'll want it for every single scene if you are doing lighting or scenic design. So every time they go to a new place or it's a new time of day, you will redo this stuff. I hope this has been helpful for you. In our next video, we're going to talk about tactile research.